That's how it looks. Yeah, the government shutdown is not over yet, but it looks imminent that it will end. It's only a matter of time. The bill will now head to the House, where it's expected to pass as early as Wednesday. It will not have the support of Democrats in that chamber, though, because it does not extend the Obamacare tax credits that Democrats had been pushing for. The 8 Democratic defectors got a few concessions. This deal restores jobs for more than 4,000 federal workers who were fired during the shutdown. There are some protections against mass federal layoffs through the end of this fiscal year. Furloughed workers will get back pay, and the deal funds SNAP benefits through the 2026 fiscal year. It also eases air travel across the country, which had been mounting in terms of cancellations and problems. However, Democrats like Arizona Congressman Greg Stanton says this deal does not do enough to lower the cost of living for working families. He said he desperately wants the government up and running, but not without a guarantee that federal health care subsidies are extended past the end of the year.
This agreement, upon my reading of it, does not realistically lower health care costs. And so because we've made that such a high priority, lowering costs for American people, I would not be supportive of the agreement.
Wyoming.
So in exchange for their votes, Senate Republicans promised a handful of Democrats that there would be a vote in the Senate next month on those health care tax credits. However, Senate Democrats offered a motion to force that vote today, and that motion failed. Virtually every Democratic senator who's up for re-election next year blasted this deal and the splinter group who voted for it. None of the 8 Democrats who sided with Republicans are facing an election in 2026, and 2 of them are retiring at the end of their terms. I'm Derek Staahl for Arizona's Family.